Hi there, I'm Russell Sturgis. I'm the founder and principal of EAP Mentor. Welcome to the fifth instalment in a series of blogs that I've been doing on the 5 principles of the Enhancers Awareness Program. And the one that we're looking at today is about the idea that change happens like a ripple across a pond. Now, in the blog, in the written blog, I go into describing this concept of change sort of working its way through consciousness and then on through our lives, just as a result of this practice of being mindful and aware. And I guess I thought that the best way to communicate this is to share a couple of testimonials of people who have actually completed the Enhancers Awareness Program, or one has completed and the other one's still going through it. But they've described their own experience, and I think that their description really helps to give clarity to this idea that when we talk about change being a ripple across a pond, it's not like when you throw a stone into the center of the pond that the stone has to keep on moving to push the ripple out. Once the stone's entered, then the effect works its way through of its own cause. So I want to share a couple of, as I said, testimonials, and these will help to give us some understanding. I'll just talk about them as we go. The first one, the question that was asked was, before I did EAP, how was my life? And this gentleman said, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I was in survival mode, I suppose, stressed and not having the mechanisms to cope. I didn't have a balanced view or see things in perspective, and some things I wasn't even aware of. What I now see as insignificant things used to have a huge significance and impact on me, and things that I thought were insignificant had great impact on others. How has your life changed? The short answer is at peace, relaxed, happier with and in myself. My relationships are greatly improved. Much better awareness of myself and those around me. Stress? What's that? What did you enjoy most about the process? And I think that this is pertinent to what we're talking about today. The process, the fact that you don't have to change anything. You follow a set process and the changes come naturally, and then he says, like a blooming flower. And in the context of what we're talking about, the changes happen like the ripple across a pond. And what he was really alluding to, and I've had several discussions with this gentleman, is that the thing that blew him away was that the changes happened without him having to work hard. All he had to do was to turn up and do the program and to do the little bit of homework that he had to do. And just by his commitment to doing that, there was huge change started to take place in his life. And he actually had difficulty getting his head around the notion that change happens so freely without all this huge effort that he'd often gone for counselling and to get help in the past, and he'd given up because he just found it too difficult to manage. And he said the ease at which this happened sort of took him off guard. What are a few insights that you would share with somebody considering? I finished the course months ago, and then once again, here's the rippling effect. And the improvements continue, all naturally, all without conscious thought. I would think that anyone and everyone should benefit or would benefit from EAP. So this guy's really sort of, the thing that he keeps on pointing out, and as I said in the discussions that I've had with him, the thing that he keeps on just being totally amazed with is the capacity for not only during the course of the program for change to manifest, but even after having completed the program, there's this ongoing rippling effect in terms of the way in which, and of course this was really about the narrative and the story and really becoming aware of that, the way in which once he got that, the way that impacted through the rest of his life continues to this day. And this is somebody who completed this program sort of towards the latter part of last year, and he's saying he's still feeling the effects. The other one that I want to share is a young woman who's in a corporate role, and she starts out by discussing who she was before she did the program. And she said, prior to my commencement of this program in mid-2018, I found myself highly strung, in constant flight or fight mode, completely exhausted and on the edge of burnout and full of self-doubt, which was impacting on my work just as much as it was on my family life. I knew I couldn't continue doing what I was doing, but didn't know where to begin. So she came to a 2-day workshop that I ran in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce here on the Sunshine Coast. And she says, since completing the 2-day workshop with Russell and Rosie and now being halfway through EAP, the impact of becoming aware of my story and how it is affecting each area of my life, and now being able to understand why I do the things the way I do, has been remarkable! Exclamation mark. So if you'll notice that the only word that she talks there in terms of the impact is awareness. The impact of becoming aware. And then she goes on to say, the more aware I have become, the more grounded, calmer, and less stressed I am. This has been particularly noticeable in my work, with increased engagement, feeling more confident in my abilities and what I can contribute and the value I provide, which has led to a higher quality work, increased productivity, and less time spent thinking, overthinking and overanalyzing my decisions. And then she goes on to say, I have been naturally able to implement positive changes in many different areas of my life, which has improved my overall quality of life. So, and she's discussed this, she said the ease at which she's been able to, once again, institute change, and she uses the word there, she's been naturally able to institute these changes. I've also found that being more self-aware, so once again this is just about awareness, allows me to be more aware of others, being more empathetic and understanding, which is beneficial not only with my colleagues but with clients. Being more aware of the impact of leading a more self-honouring life has also naturally led me to want to help others and to lead by example in being a positive influence, particularly to those in the workplace. So when we start to practice mindfulness, and I'm just going to recap here just in conclusion to these 5 principles, is that as we become more aware, we have the ability to be more mindful. And I just want to reiterate that in the context of Western mindfulness and the Enhances Awareness program, this capacity to be mindful is about remembering that you actually have more self-loving alternatives, that you have options. And so awareness is the very thing that helps to create what these self-loving options are, and mindfulness is the ability to remember in any moment that you can actually choose those, that you have a choice about those things. When we're not aware, when we function from habit and function from a place of ignorance, then there isn't a choice, and therefore it's impossible to be mindful. Really, that's all I want to share with you, other than to say that these 5 core principles that we've been sharing over these last 5 blogs are really important in understanding the dynamics of mindfulness, particularly from a Western perspective, and the fact that when we apply this ability to be more aware, and then when we adopt a commitment to being mindful, then change does happen without force. It actually happens really naturally and with ease, and we can literally see it rippling through all the different aspects of our lives, in the way in which we relate to other people, the way in which we relate to ourselves, the way in which we relate to our work, the way in which we relate to our homes, and the way in which we relate to our community and to nature. Anyway, thank you for having come on board during this journey of these 5 principles, and look forward to speaking to you on our next blog, which I'm not quite sure what that's going to be yet. Anyway, we'll speak to you then. Bye.